Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mangus, and I got something exciting to tell you guys about. For the first time in a year now, if not a year, then almost a year, we have a new top 1 player on the ladder. For a year, Inkugark has dominated the number 1 spot. No one has really been able to touch him. And yeah, I think he came to the number 1 spot in November of last year. He actually was number 1 a little bit before that, but he kept ping-ponging back and forth between Go 7. But Inkugark's kind of just been dominating the number 1 spot, and very few people have been able to come close to him. He actually did reach 1700 MMR, but then he took a loss to Shock in a high funds game, and it kind of fell down a little bit, and then he hasn't queued Global League since. But Inkugark has kind of just been contesting the number 1 spot without really doing anything, which is kind of funny. No one else has really been able to reach his level. But a few days ago, that all changed when Mr. Starflash 250 climbed all the way up to 1700 MMR, the second player in Advanced Wars by Web history to do so, and he is now the number 1 rated player. Of course, Starflash, you should be familiar with Starflash. I've casted a bunch of his games before. He's been part of every single Grandmaster live tournament. There's one coming up in January, by the way. I'm going to make a video about it very soon. We're going to host Season 4. But yeah, Starflash, hilarious player. He's a good friend of mine. I like him a lot. He's very aggressive, very high energy. Always has a lot to say. Not very patient. I think one of the things about Starflash that I think makes him stand out from other players is that there's a lot of solid players on Advanced Wars by Web that can play really well if they take enough time, but Starflash can do it while playing a lot of games at once and not playing particularly slowly. Like, he plays fast and he still wins against some of the best players on the site, which I think is very impressive. Once Rated Live rolls around, I very much expect Starflash will be on the number 1 spot if he sets his mind to it. So that's going to be very interesting. Just taking a look at his game history right here, you can see that he's won all of his previous games. He's been on a huge win streak lately, and his rating, like, it took a little bit of a dive. I think he had a bit of a tilt, and then it just like skyrocketed up, and now it seems like no one can really touch him. Like, I've been looking at his games, and he just keeps crushing everyone. So in honor of Starflash hitting the number 1 spot, I asked him, hey, do you want me to cast one of your matches? Do you have a good one? And he sent me this one. He said, this is a very good match, and I had a look at it. Yeah, it looks very exciting. So here he is playing against a player named Get Good. This is the first time I cast one of his games on my channel. He's a very solid player. 1600 MMR is incredibly high. Only a handful of players are able to ever reach this far. And at the moment, Get Good sits at number 11 on the overall rankings on the board. So he's the 11th best player in the world currently. So that makes him no slouch. And Starflash is facing him here on the map Chosen Reservoir, which is a map that I've had some difficulties with in the past, but I'm starting to get more comfortable on it now. It's a huge map, very intimidating because there's so much distance to cover here. Tons of cities situated out on little islands, meaning that transports are kind of a must, which I do like. But Chosen Reservoir is just one of those maps that can be very hard to play on if you're new, because you just don't know where to go and you don't know where to take your fights. But as with most big maps like Stalingrad and Chosen Reservoir, like, you gotta take your time and not spread yourself too thin. You kind of want to bunch up most of your army in one spot, and it pretty much just becomes a game of predicting where the enemy is going to strike and then going for good counterattacks. That seems to be how you win battle on Chosen Reservoir. And one thing I love about Starflash is not only is this match just a lot of fun to watch, but he also has a love for Jess, and he very often picks her. When I made my little Jess video a little while back, where I talked about how I thought she was very underrated, there was a time when Jess was not viewed very highly, and Starflash was one of those people he was an avid Jess defender. He kept saying she's actually much better than people give her credit for, and I feel like now Jess has kinda earned her rightful place as a very solid Fog CO. We see her picked a lot more in Fog matches. In Standard, I don't think she's very good, because in Standard, infantry walls and infantry engagements are a lot more common. But in Fog matches, where tanks dominate, I actually think Jess is very solid. And I've talked a lot about, with the other Grandmasters, about, the strengths of Jess, what she does well. And, Jake is considered kind of the strongest tier 4 CO, or he has been for a while. But I just think Jess has so much more flexibility than Jake, especially on Fog matches, because, yeah, sure, the argument is that Jake gets as much firepower as Jess with his powers, but he has to be on planes for that to apply, whereas Jess can take battles on cities, forests, shoals, roads. Like, she doesn't care. This gives her so much more flexibility than Jake. And sure, Jake may have better battlecopters, his infantry can get the bonus, and he gets that coveted +1 artillery range. But in fog matches, artillery don't see that much play because they're very easy to take out. They're much more prevalent in standard matches, and especially on huge maps like Chosen Reservoir and Stalingrad, artillery can be very hard to use. I'm obviously not going to say you never build artillery, but they're just not as prevalent. It's more of a tank warfare, and Jess excels at tank warfare. One benefit she also has over Jake is that she has a much better normal power. You really don't want to pop Beatdown unless you're on the ropes. Don't get me wrong, situationally it can be useful if you really need that artillery shot or whatnot, but it's a bad power for its price, you know? Just a 20% firepower increase on planes doesn't give any movement bonuses or anything like that. Just gets the +1 move on all of her vehicles. Turbocharge is an amazing power. Gives you a lot of pushing power when you need to, and you know, in the late game, you pop that overdrive for the big game-ending push, and it's just incredibly nasty to go up against in that situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I say we jump into this match right here, and let's get started. So, we have down in the bottom left, we have Get Good and the red trunks. Up in the top right, we have Starflash and the green trunks. He usually plays purple lightning, but I have this weird thing where I like to have the COs match their colors, so I changed them. Sorry, Starflash, I know you like your purple. I know that, you know, it does kind of feel a little bit sacrilegious, doesn't it? Maybe we should change him back. You know. Okay, this is okay for my colorblindness, okay. Starflash, in case you don't know, he always selects purple lightning. It's kind of like his brand. Kind of like how Go7 always selects Cobalt Ice, and Voice of Akasha always selects Amber Blaze. Starflash has a love for purple lightning because, you know, it's lightning. And they also have the Eiffel Tower as their HQ, which is kind of funny. But, you know, I figured, you know what, we gotta let Starflash be purple. Now, I'm colorblind, as you guys know, so I like to change the colors so that it's easy for me to see, but I can definitely see the difference here, so this is okay. So, yeah, I'm not really commenting much on the openers right here. Chosen, the capture chains are fairly simple. You want to get a T-Copter out early. You have this island right here. You have these 2 islands right here, which you want to get. It's like no rush or anything, but you want to get them at some point because it is 3k extra income. That's going to start to add up if you ignore them. I have seen some Chosen matches where one or both players have actually ignored the islands and just not built the T-Copter and just banked on early aggression. And it can definitely be done, but you have to be really aggressive if you're going to do that, because foregoing 3k income, you need to capitalize on that quick. That will start to add up over the course of the match. But yeah, Chosen Reservoir, one of those maps that just takes forever to get going because the capture phase is so long. I mean, just look at this. Like, the infantry has to move over such huge distances. So maps on Chosen, or games on Chosen Reservoir, tends to take a long time. Like, they tend to go into day 20 and beyond. But yeah, I like Starflash doing the little cute transport movements right there. I thought that's a bit of a weird move, honestly. I don't really know why he flew it all the way down here. I think he was intending to boost it, but then he kind of brought it back. I don't really know what he was doing here, but this is kind of funny thing about Starflash is that I've noticed sometimes if you try to copy Starflash openers, sometimes he makes basic mistakes because he plays very quickly. So I remember Degis saying to me, like, I don't remember if it was Degis or Starflash himself, but said, like, don't copy Starflash openers. It's not necessarily a smart thing to do because he sometimes do make basic mistakes. But where Starflash really excels is in the mid to late game, where he has such a good game sense, and he also has a great ability to know when to attack, and he's extremely aggressive, and he always takes the fight to his opponent. Whereas Inkugarg, he's kind of like a player that kind of slowly baits the opponent in and then like takes them out with one blow. Starflash is like, he'll wear you down with constant aggression and just taking better engagements than you. He's not very known for like just sweeping his opponents over in one fell swoop. It's more like an extended brawl, really. Now, one thing that I'm noticing with Get Good here is that he has not built a T-Copter yet, whereas Starflash has built his. So I don't know if he's going to build that eventually, or maybe he's actually going to, maybe he might actually forgo it. I'd be very surprised. Like, it's so easy to get a T-Copter out. But Get Good actually going recon artillery here after his 2 tank openers, which is interesting. No artillery out from Starflash yet, but of course, if you're playing Jake, I love the boosting right here. This is excellent. One thing that I love about, or if you're going to play Jake, you definitely want to get an early artillery out, because again, that +1 artillery range is a big part of his toolkit. If you're gonna go artillery on Fog Match, go them early. Like, don't you definitely don't want to wait until like day 10 and then grab a artillery, because they need a lot of time to set up. So go for them early, get them out. I say 1 artillery is probably more than enough for a map like Chosen Reservoir. There are some good locations you can put it, like some forest. You can roll your tanks around the forest, but it is just so easy to lose it. So you got to be careful when you put those artillery out. You know, Starflash hasn't built a single artillery yet. But both players are right now, they're basically scouting for recons. This is kind of why they're splitting their tanks up in the early game. Get Good finally gets a T-Copter of his own. That's very good. But yeah, both players are just scouting for each other's recons. That's why they're sending their tanks out like this. Now Starflash getting his comm tower. Very important to get that comm tower as Jess, because you reach that coveted plus 20% firepower with your tanks, which allows them to 2-shot tanks on cities. Very nice. But yeah, both players, we're still in the capture. We're in day 9 and we're still in the capture phase. Like, Chosen Reservoir's capture phase is absolutely huge. Starflash rolling out with the recon here, and he sees the tank. The tank sees the infantry, but not the recon, because tanks have 3 vision. So the recon is still shielded. I don't think there's a way Get Good is going to be able to see it. But yeah, both players still in the capture phase. We're going to be in the capture phase for another like 5 days before engagement starts to happen. And it looks like Get Good is now boosting a little bit with his T-Copter. He's going to get this island. Starflash already capturing his second island, so Starflash might be ahead a little bit in the income in a few days. But as of now, Get Good actually has a slight income lead, so we'll see what happens. There we go. So Starflash rolls out with a tank. Recon sets up. He sees the tank. He doesn't want to get struck. Starflash rolls in with his tank just to see what he can see, puts it on the city, so it's not going to be very beneficial for Get Good to attack into it. It's basically just using this tank as a recon, seeing what he can see. Rolls down with another tank. And an artillery coming out for Starflash, something that I said you shouldn't do, but I guess, you know, it's Starflash after all. I shouldn't. I'm sure he has a plan for it, or maybe he doesn't. I get the feeling that Starflash plays on impulse a lot. He just kind of does something. Like, do I look like a man with a plan now? No, he just does things. And, okay, interesting. So Get Good actually goes for the attack here. You can see it's not a great, it's an okay trade of 7-6. But just tank on city is not to be trifled with. Now, he moves his artillery in, but the thing is, Starflash sees this. So I don't know how smart it is to tip your hand here, because the tank has 3 visions, so Starflash will have seen the artillery move through here and go into the forest. So now Starflash knows there's an artillery here, and I find that if you're going to build artillery in the fog, you want to try and make it a surprise so that you get that one shot on the enemy tank with it, and then they go, oh, okay, there's an artillery there. Now Starflash knows there's an artillery here, which allows him to just front switch away. This is usually how you respond to an artillery. You just shift away from it. That's because, again, you don't really want to be fighting into artillery unless you're confident you can break through. So we'll see what Starflash does here. I'm imagining he's just going to pull his tank back. So he sets up a nice little wall, pulls his tank all the way back to the city to repair it up, and he's more than ready for whatever Get Good is going to send over here. Sends out the Anti-Air, important. Going to be a lot of battlecopters flying around on Chosen Reservoir. But so far, both players are not really sure where the other player is going to be attacking. But you can see Starflash is playing this very carefully at the moment. Builds the first Neotank. Just Neotanks are so scary, man. Like, they are so scary. Starflash actually attacking with the infantry here, interestingly enough. Let's see what Get Good decides to do here. He moves in, hunkers down around the artillery, trying to grab these properties right here. Both players are now... You can see Starflash is actually ahead right now in the income, thanks to the fact that he has his island properties. But we have 2 fronts here. Get Good and Starflash has like half of their army divided here. At some point, they're going to have to pick a battlefield. Like, you don't want to fight on 2 fronts on Chosen. You kind of want to push on one and then play defensive on the other. So we'll see what happens, which players can end up front switching first. But Starflash actually going in here. I think the fact that he saw the artillery here means that he's confident there's not going to be an artillery here. And there is, but it's not in position yet. So Starflash is like, he even does a joint cap here, which is not something you see a lot. But I guess he really wants this property so he can park vehicles on it. Bringing in an artillery of his own. Starflash now going for his 3rd island. and actually goes in with the recon to take out an infantry. That recon is probably going to get killed. But now Starflash realizes, okay, I'm pulling back. He's got an artillery here. There's no way. He's got to be careful he doesn't lose his comm tower. Your comm tower can fall on Chosen Reservoir if you're not careful, because it is very exposed. 3 tanks coming out from Starflash this turn. So that's actually pretty hilarious. The recon does not die, because again, Jake doesn't... So I think when you have a Jess tank attack a vehicle with a comm tower, I think you have a small chance to one-shot it on planes. Jake cannot. And he did get the good luck roll there, though, so the recon goes down, depriving Starflash of a little bit of vision. Get good charges in with the artillery. Look how beautifully it's covering. It's going to be hard for Starflash to battle through here. He does have the anti-air, so that battlecopter isn't going to just go ham. But so far, neither player is showing clear weaknesses here. But they're kind of trying each other out. Get good realizing he cannot interrupt this cap. So the joint cap was probably a smart move on Starflash's front. It earned him a property, which is a big deal. And furthermore, it earns him a forward property that he can use to heal his vehicles on, which is also very nice. Day 13 rolls in. Both players are kind of equal. Get Good has a slight unit count lead and a slight value lead. So Starflash a little bit behind in the early goings here, but we'll see how long that lasts. Starflash's artillery now coming in to reinforce the front lines, and it seems like he's switching south. He keeps his artillery around, but he's starting to move his tanks down south here, so it seems like we're going to have a battle in the center around this little lab right here that no one ever captures. So let's see who decides to take the first big engagement. There's definitely a brawl happening around here. Get Good has his artillery that very solidly entrenched. Is Starflash going to try and break through? Looks like he's actually going to try and break through, but does he have the numbers for it? He does. Only a 6 HP tank, but still brings the artillery down to 6 HP. It's still potent, it still does damage, but it's a nice little break from Starflash, even taking an infantry engagement on the tank. He really wants to bring that tank down. But day 14 rolls in, good attack by Starflash. Of course, now Starflash has a big advantage because it's normal power time. And Get Good really doesn't want to pop Beatdown, but Starflash does not mind popping Turbocharge. So this is a scary position for Jake to be in, because Jess is so much better in the early game compared to Jake. So there's a good chance Starflash is going to pop his Turbocharge and just roll over Get Good if he's not careful here. Let's see what he decides to do. He goes on the attack. Gets the infantry, gets a nice shot with the tank on the city, and he waits with his artillery, which I think is interesting. He doesn't shoot with it until he gets a complete overview of the battlefield. T-Copter goes, and now on day 14 is when Get Good decides to take the island. Starflash already has his, so I'd say opening up the T-Copter was the smart move here. But still, we see a battle on two fronts, although Starflash seems to be pivoting into the center. So I think Get Good needs to be careful now, because Starflash, he will soon have a vehicle superiority in the south. So if Get Good doesn't recognize what Starflash is doing, look how Starflash is moving the tanks on the edge of his vision range. So Get Good doesn't know that Starflash is shifting 2 tanks. For all he knows, those tanks are here. So that's why Get Good is cautious here. So Starflash is leaving a bit of a skeleton crew behind to guard this area, but he's sending 2 of his tanks down here. So the question right now is Get Good going to realize that Starflash is front switching? AKA, like in case you don't know that term, it means that he swaps his units from one front to another. The Starflash now rolling down with his tanks. Get Good definitely knows what's up now because he sees 2 tanks coming from this side and the Neo. Starflash pulling his anti-air back wisely to get healed, using the transport copter again. One thing that I think is kind of nice with Jess, and something that a lot of people don't mention, is the fact that she never has to pull her transports back to get resupplied. Transport copters will run out of fuel. Like, Get Good built his pretty late, but Starflash, you can see his T-Copter is down to 29 fuel. So if he wasn't Jess, he would either have to build an APC, or he would have to pull it all the way back to get resupplied. Starflash doesn't need to do that, because Jess's power resupplies her air units. It's not something that's often talked about, but I do find that it's a nice little bonus that Jess gets. And furthermore, it also allows for stealth fighters. And in case you don't know, Chosen Reservoir is one of the few fog maps that actually allows stealth fighters. And Jess actually has really good stealth fighters because she resupplies them. She may get 10% less firepower, but not having to constantly resupply her stealth fighters is actually pretty nice. So Get Good, he sees the Neo now, and he immediately recognizes what Starflash is doing. You can see he's pulling his tanks over. He recognizes Starflash is going to hit him hard on the south side. So you can see he's pulling back. He knows what's coming. He has good game sense. He's not just going to run headfirst into the Starflash meat grinder. You can see he's setting up defensively right now. This is the hallmarks of a good player, recognizing when your opponent is front switching. He builds a Neo of his own because you can't really deal with Neos without Neos of your own. That's kind of what makes them so scary. You can't really, like, medium tanks, sure, if you get the first strike, but you don't always get the first strike. So Starflash here gets a nice little copter shot. Never hesitate to build battlecopters as Jess. And remember, a Neo tank can take 3 HP off a battlecopter, so never hesitate to actually attack into it. But yeah, Starflash now, he knows that Get Good knows what he's doing. Using the T-Copter as a blocker, love it. Definitely use your transports for all they're worth. But here you can see Starflash, he's pivoting into the center, gathering his army up together. This is where Jess is so scary. He's sitting on the overdrive now, and he can pop it at any moment to just deliver an absolutely devastating push. 2 more tanks coming out from Starflash. Sure, Get Good has his Block Rock too, which is similar in strength. Gets a nice little battlecopter shot here and deals damage to the Neo as well. But I would be very, very cautious if I was Get Good right now, because I do find that overdrive is scarier than Block Rock. Because, again, just the flexibility that Jess has with her vehicles. She can attack from anywhere, whereas Drake has to stay on planes, which is a huge penalty. But you can tell that Get Good doesn't want to give too much ground, because he doesn't want to start risking his properties, but at the same time, he knows that overdrive can happen at any moment. And Starflash just needs to smell blood, basically, and it can be over in a flash. No pun intended. So in comes the infantry. Both players just healing each other out right now. Little copter skirmishes going on here and there, you know, like just little trades happening, but nothing big yet. You can see Starflash is just waiting to pounce here. He's just waiting to pounce. The question is, when's it gonna happen? Recon coming in. Always like to send recons on the sides and Chosen Reservoir. Always nice, because they can pick off capping infantry. They kind of you have to draw a tank to deal with them, which is kind of annoying. But is Get Good going to go for it here? He seems to be moving in, taking infantry engagements. Killing quite a few infantry, actually. But I can't help but wonder if he's going to run... Oh my goodness, this is... I would be very scared right now. Like, he's kind of committed to a couple of attacks. But this is Overdrive Town right now. Like, I can absolutely guarantee that Starflash is going to pop Overdrive this turn. Because Get Good has just kind of positioned himself in the path. And if he doesn't pop it, I'm going to be very surprised. Maybe he's not... he's not popping it? Really? I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. He's still not popping it. He's sitting on it. Oh, wow. Maybe he feels like he doesn't need it this turn? It could be the case. I mean... Wow, I'm surprised. I was like, if I was Starflash here, I would have popped Overdrive immediately, but... I think maybe he recognizes that he doesn't need to move that far this turn, and maybe he just wants to save it for the counterattack. I mean, Starflash is a much better player than me, so I'm sure it's the right choice. It's just that I, as a Just player, would not be able to resist popping Overdrive in this situation. But then again, I am seeing Get Good's position, whereas Starflash is not, so... But, okay. Still no Block Rock. Still no Block Rock. My goodness, look at this. So both players are kind of just edging closer and closer and closer. Still no Block Rock. Just small engagements. I think both players are just banking on the fact that one of them is going to overextend and then they can pop their superpower to punish. But I mean, look at how scary Starflash's forces are right now. Day 18. We still haven't seen a power. These players have probably been charging up like 2 power meters already. Are we gonna see the overdrive, ladies and gentlemen? Are we ever gonna see it? Why aren't they popping it? It's still not popping. Are they having like a contest to see who can go the longest without popping their powers? Like I am amazed by their restraint right now. I really am. There we go. Stealth Fighter out of jet. This was what I was hoping for. So again, Stealth Fighter actually very solid with Jess. Oh my god, Starflash has 3 fuel left on his T-Copter. He needs to pop his turn next turn. He needs to pop his power next turn if he doesn't want it to crash. Get Good now. Comes in with a Battlecopter. Still will not pop the Block Rock. Still doesn't pop it. I mean, if you can get your engagements done without it, I guess you don't need it, but my goodness. This is such a game of chicken. Ah, finally. Finally. Oh my goodness, I thought it would never happen. Starflash finally pops his power, refuels the T-Copter just in time. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here it comes. The Jess Mega Push. In comes the tank. Recon charges in, kills the infantry. Spots the artillery with the 3 HP Battlecopter. In comes the anti-air. Boom. Tank. Stealth Fighter comes in, goes into stealth mode. Moves his infantry in. Another tank comes in. That artillery is pretty much useless now. But you can see, even though he has the overdrive, Starflash is still playing this cautiously because he knows the counterattack Block Rock is coming. And that Stealth Fighter, man, I'm telling you, you really... Like, seeing a Stealth Fighter when you don't have a fighter out is the worst feeling in the world. It really is. Because it's like, oh, you gotta build a fighter, then you gotta move the fighter, and then the Stealth Fighter gets like 3 or 4 turns to harass. It's awful. But here comes Get Good's counterattack, the Block Rock. Gets the artillery shot, very nice. Lots of plane tiles here for Jake to utilize. So in the middle of Chosen Reservoir here, he will pretty much be able to get most of his attacks from planes. Ooh, gets a bad luck roll right there with the infantry on tank. But you can also, he's starting to use up a lot of his plane tiles though. He's gotten a lot of good engagement here, but like here on these shoals, he will not get his firepower bonus. Here on this lab, he will not get his firepower bonus. And it looks like Starflash's wall will actually hold here. Like, it's a strong Block Rock, but it's not quite powerful enough to bust through. And Starflash still has that artillery and the Stealth Fighter as well, which Get Good has no idea is coming. He might surmise that a Stealth Fighter will happen at some point, because again, they are not banned on Chosen. But it's just never something you really prepare for, because who wants to build a fighter against Jess, right? Anyway, so both players actually pretty equal. Starflash a little bit behind at the moment. So strong defense and good counterattack from Get Good for sure. But let's see what happens here. In comes the tank. And the Stealth Fighter reveals itself. And Starflash pops the normal power. Refuels the Stealth Fighter back to 60 fuel, which is such a big deal. Again, keep in mind, the Stealth Fighter, I think it spends 7 fuel per turn just to stay afloat. Plus 1 per tile it moves. So that's pretty crazy. But this is what I love about Jess, just the flexibility of the normal power. And look at this, she can just take the engagements on the show. She doesn't care. She's not Jake. It doesn't matter if she doesn't get the plane tile, because she doesn't need it. But it still doesn't look like either player has a clear advantage in the middle here. We're on day 20, and it's a decent counterattack from Starflash, but we'll see what Get Good decides to do now. Anti-air comes in. He knows that there's a Stealth Fighter there now, which means he has to sink 20k into a fighter to counter it, which is annoying. You really don't want to be doing that. And Get Good also doesn't have... Well, he just equalized the Neo Tank. They both have 4 HP Neo Tanks. But for all Get Good knows, there could be more Neo Tanks on the way. There's not, but they could, so... But he is starting to capture 2 of Starflash's cities right now, so if Starflash isn't careful, he could turn this into an economic advantage. The balance of knowing where to place your units and knowing how many infantry to dedicate to each side is a very tricky one. Get Good finally gets out his fighter. Thank God he does. But that Stealth Fighter will still have 2 more turns to go ham before the fighter can intercept it. And if Starflash is smart, he might even be able to keep it alive longer than that. So here, again, he knows he has a couple more turns with the Stealth Fighter. It's already down to 46 fuel. That thing runs out so quickly. Another really cool aspect of the Stealth Fighter is how good it is at blocking the enemy. Like, they can't move through it, so you can use it to be really annoying your opponent. Last thing they want is to trap themselves on a Stealth Fighter. So it creates a bit of uncertainty. You need to constantly remember where it is, and if you decide not to attack with the Stealth Fighter for a turn, you can place it somewhere, and the enemy won't know where, and then they kind of have to guess or scout out with other units first, which is very annoying to deal with. So day 22 rolls in. Get Good takes out the anti-air. He spots the Stealth Fighter. He knows where it is now. Still can't reach it, though. But neither player is willing to concede the middle here. Get Good is now forming up another wall in the center right here. Don't really think Starflash going to have a lot of luck attacking into this. Of course, now at this point, Starflash knows that a fighter is on the way, so he needs to get that Stealth Fighter out of there. And now Starflash seems to shift, and this is what I was talking about right now. So, the Stealth Fighter, of course, it does risk being spotted by the fighter, but Starflash places it in a location, and there's no way for Get Good to really know. Like, it could have gone down here, it could have gone up here. So he doesn't know where the Stealth Fighter is, which creates an aura of uncertainty in his movements. He needs to be very cautious moving his more expensive units, as they can get trapped on it. 2 recons coming out from Starflash. I think he realizes he needs a little bit more vision. Recons are fantastic as chess, like on maps like this. They're not only great for cleaning away infantry, but you need that vision. And here's a funny little thing about that Stealth Fighter. If this infantry had moved here, he would have spotted it and he would have killed it. Because that fighter is definitely in range. So Starflash being a little lucky here, maybe, that Get Good decides to move on the comm tower and not on the... I don't know how much luck it is. Maybe it's just good game sense, recognizing that Get Good would want to move on the comm tower. But he oh my god, the Stealth Fighter. It could have been killed so many times already. Like, this G-copter could have found it, but miraculously the Just Stealth Fighter is still alive. Day 23, no clear winner. They're both very equal. Look at that. Look at the unit value, the unit count. Pretty crazy. Very even game. But now Starflash is poking in a little bit in the south here, trying to see what he can see. Moving in his Neo tank. It is in repair mode, but it's still ready to pounce if he needs it. I'm very, very surprised the Stealth Fighter is still alive. So Starflash moves it back, and now he actually has to be a little bit careful because this thing has 18 fuel left, and he may not want to pop his power next turn, so he builds an APC. He has to refuel it. So Just Stealth Fighters, they're not immune to crashing. They're just less likely to. But you actually might have to invest into an APC if you want to keep the Stealth Fighter alive. It's not like the APC is completely useless on its own, though. It still helps you ferry infantry to the center. Get Good actually has an APC too, I just noticed, which is kind of interesting. But we're once again into that stalemate scenario where both players are kind of just setting up, waiting for the other player to pounce. Starflash has to be careful now because, again, this thing has 6 fuel left, so he needs to get that APC over there ASAP. I'm kind of surprised he didn't move his... I think that's a little bit of a mistake, Starflash. He has his infantry here, and yet he didn't transport it, which I think that is just a mistake. I think Starflash literally just blundered there. Just a bit of an oversight. Maybe he wanted the infantry down here, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, once again, you can see how close... They're basically kissing on the front lines here. They're kissing each other. Mwah. We'll see if any player can turn it into an advantage. Get Good now. Decides to poke ahead a little bit, see what he can see. Moves with the battlecopters first. In comes the tank. Ooh. He has 2 artillery, 3 artillery on the front lines. That could be very, very frightening when block rockets pop. Of course, none of them are on planes, which sucks a little bit, but that's also another thing about Jake artillery is keeping artillery on planes is fine in standard, but in fog it's way too risky. So very rarely will Jake actually get planes booster artillery when his superpower kicks in, because you want to put them in forests. So, kind of a weird aspect of Jake's power here, but oh man, I think we're probably going to see a turbocharge this turn. Is he going to just pop turbocharge? He moves in with this APC to refuel. He might. There we go. There it is, the turbocharge. So he actually didn't need the APC at all. He could have actually forgone it completely. But here we go. The tanks are rolling in, and again, this is where Jess shines. She has the flexibility to take the engagements on whatever tile she wishes. Cities, plains, roads, it doesn't matter. Her vehicles are equally strong. And this is a pretty devastating push, honestly. He doesn't attack with the Stealth Fighter. He wants to keep it alive. Like, there's a chance he might pick off the fighter with an anti-air, which is a huge issue for Get Good. Like, if that happens, he's screwed. So Starflash keeping his Stealth Fighter back, and now you can see the properties are falling on the south side. Starflash moving in with the Recon. And this looks bad for Get Good. I wouldn't want to be Get Good right now. But he pops the Block Rock. Let's see if he's able to do a counterattack. He gets trapped, actually. And looks like he might actually... Oh my god, he's going to lose both properties. He's going to lose both properties right here. And I just noticed he has a Black Boat. I don't know how long that's been there. Did he build it last turn? I guess he did. But he knows he has to counterattack here. If he doesn't whittle down Starflash's army, he's dead next turn. So he goes for it. He goes full throttle. Medium tank comes in, but look at how few plane tiles there are in this vicinity right here. He's forced to take a lot of his engagements on cities and forests. So, I mean, he still does damage, don't get me wrong, but like this just highlights one of Jake's core weaknesses, something that Inkugark also touched upon in his game with Starflashes. Man, like, the flexibility that Jess has over Jake in the endgame is just insane, like... So yeah, I mean, it's a good counterattack. He is ahead, but let's see what Starflash is able to cook up here. And Starflash now has a massive income advantage of 28,000 to 24, so time definitely works in his favor now. He tries to kill the medium tank, but he doesn't get it, which is a little bit sad. But parks the Neo on the city, using the APC as a wall. Very nice. But man, it's hard to tell who's ahead right now. I mean, I'd like to say Starflash because of the income, but Get Good is putting up a very good defense here. And if that fighter gets picked off by a Jess anti-air, then this Stealth Fighter, it's basically GG, so Get Good has to keep it alive. He can't really risk sending it forward. But here comes the counterattack. Neo tank comes in, kills the tank. Transport copter goes down. Artillery are getting some nice value here. These artillery, the fact that he's been able to keep them alive this long is really good. Like, they're giving him so much value on the front lines right here. And it looks like Get Good once again is able to repel Starflash's push. We're in day 27. And Starflash is actually behind. But here comes the overdrive, ladies and gentlemen. Brrrrum. And let's see what Starflash is able to do with this power now. Uses his recon to scout. More tanks coming in. Again, look at the nice movement boost on the vehicles. Brings them to the front line so much quicker. But is he able to... He needs to find the artillery, and he does. Boom. But it's going to get repaired up to 5 HP, though, so he needs to finish it off. And, oh, he's getting some nice hits here. Yeah, the artillery is gone. That's good. In comes the Stealth Fighter. The Neo Tank gets a decent shot using the APC to block the Stealth Fighter. That's really nice. But, again, it's not easy to say who's ahead now, because here comes another Block Rock. And he still has artillery left over here. And, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, we'll see what happens. Looks like Get Good is able to, he's able to drive Starflash away here in the bottom, which is nice. This is such an intense back and forth battle. Like, I can't get over how back and forth it is. Starflash wasn't joking when I said this was a good match. But man, look at how many tanks Starflash has now. Surely, this must be the end for Get Good. I mean, Starflash has so many vehicles and he still has the anti-air. Let's see what he's able to do. In comes the anti-air, kills the battlecopter. And the Neo tank comes in as well. The artillery finally goes down. In comes the tank. Yeah, this is the death push, ladies and gentlemen. This has to be the death push. I don't see how Get Good is going to be able to come back from this, but we'll see. Is he going to be able to find the Stealth Fighter? He tries his best, but is it going to be enough? I don't think he can find it. No, he can't find it. He can't get a unit next to it, so the fighter can't find it. And he's taking back a lot of properties, though, in the south. Starflash has nothing left here, so that income advantage will be equalized at some point. But Starflash is still so aggressive. Like, again, this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, Starflash, he doesn't kill you in one swoop. It's just constant aggression, constant pushes. He just prolongs the fight and keeps going, and he just whittles you down. Another turbocharge gets popped here. Anti-air comes in. Neotank goes down, and I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we are starting to see the beginning of the end. Starflash now pushing his way in. He's fighting in his opponent's reinforcement range, which is never good, but Get Good is able to get a lot of the properties back, which is good for him. But he knows that Starflash's force is very scary. This Stealth Fighter has been so valuable, man. He's still not been able to take it down. And now Starflash is actually coming in with battlecopters and infantry to threaten again once against these properties right here. And he has a healthy Neotank on the way as well. And Matt, he's now like literally right inside Get Good's reinforcement range right here. Look how aggressive he is now. Like literally, he's taking fights inside his opponent's, like one turn away from his opponent's base, which is absolutely incredible. I mean, again, I know so many players who would have pulled back at this point, but not Starflash. Retreat is not a word that is in his dictionary. So yeah, this is absolutely incredible. I mean, it Get Good definitely putting up a nice fight here, and I can see why he doesn't feel like resigning. But I mean, at this point, when your opponent is this far into your base, using the Black Boat to try and get that's not gonna happen. Not at this point. Not at this point. And Starflash now comes charging in. Stealth Fighter. How many... This Stealth Fighter has gotten so much value. And now Starflash is threatening the Com Tower. Moving in right here. Yeah, this is the victory march for Starflash right here. I'm guessing we're gonna see one Block Rock out of Get Good before he resigns. Let's see what happens. Boom. I mean, it's not a bad counterattack. Oh, please. Oh my god, he's not going to be able to get back into this, is he? Oh, he finds the Stealth Fighter, but the APCN's in the way. Is he going to be able to kill it? Oh, he finally gets it. Wait, oh my god, has he been able to push Starflash? Nah, there's no way. Starflash has too many units in the south. And Starflash will now also get the Com Tower, meaning that he has a 20% firepower advantage over Jake. And to add insult to injury, here comes another turbo charge. He sees that there are almost no units left. In comes the Neo. And honestly, it's a good counterattack from Get Good. Like, he actually wipes out most of Starflash's forces, but there's just too many units coming in at this point. And yeah, like, with the arrival of that Neotank, Get Good doesn't really have a Neotank of his own. So I very much doubt that he's going to be able to do it. But he's still in us. Like, does he think he can get the Com Tower back? I mean, it's been such an even fight for so long that I can definitely see why he's not resigning, but... Good, now trying to grab this property from Starflash. That's very cute. And it's actually nothing... Actually, Starflash has a battlecopter right here, so he can actually delay it. But yeah, I mean, Get Good not giving up yet, but here comes the battlecopter. Starflash is now once again laying waste to these properties, and Get Good has nothing here to defend it. In comes the Neotank, and just with 2 Com Towers when you have 0 man, that is just not cool, man. That is not fun to deal with. And yeah, if the fight was even before, it's definitely not even anymore. And I commend Get Good for thinking he can try and get back in this, but this battle is lost. It is State 34, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Starflash now going to start capturing a bunch of properties. Another turbocharge. Again, just normal power. So good, man. And the fighter goes down. That fighter didn't do a lot. It killed the Stealth Fighter, and then it died. But it's not like Get Good had any choice not to build it, you know? But, ladies and gentlemen, this battle is over. Are we going to see a resign? Or both players just... He builds a Stealth Fighter and then he resigns. Oh, what a match. What a match. Went on a little longer than it should have, but a very good match. This really is classic Starflash right here. This is classic Starflash. Just extended engagements, tons of turbocharges, relentless aggression, never pulling back. Just once the fighting starts, he just keeps going until his opponent faints. And this is kind of what makes Starflash matches very intense and very fun. And I'd say it's well-deserved, Mr. Starflash, being the second player in Advanced Wars by Web history to reach 1700 MMR. Is this going to be the new reign of Starflash, or is Inkugark finally going to start queuing up Global League again? I don't know if Starflash has ever defeated Inkugark. I've casted a few of their games before. Inkugark won in all of them, but it'd be fun to see these two behemoths face each other again, for sure. And what do you guys think? Do you think that Starflash is going to stay on top, or do you think Inkugark is going to come back and claim the spot? Or do you think someone else is going to suddenly swoop in? We have this player named Elgatua, who I don't know much about, but he's been steadily climbing up the ladder recently. Could maybe see something from him. But yeah, we have entered the reign of Starflash, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be interesting to see how long it lasts. Let me know if you enjoyed this replay commentary. I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.